The heart of the forest is where it is said to be the most dangerous. Be careful, they'd say. Watch out for the things that might grab you and drag you away, never to be seen again. Fools. All of them. Only you knew the real difference. There's no such thing as the Slender Man. No such thing as the Wendigo or the Rake, the Bloody Mary, or even ghosts. All of those things weren't true. You never doubted it for a second. Crunching beneath your feet, you must be close by now. Damn. Why did your friends drag you out here? It was only supposed to be the four of you, until one of your friends thought they heard something coming from the woods out back your house. There's nothing out there than the occasional wolf and deer and rabbits. Can we just watch the movie in peace, please? Your friend insisted. Listen, we're watching a horror movie. It's probably just got you on edge. Now sit down, calm your shit, and keep watching. They didn't listen. They all started to hear things. Even you did, but you thought nothing of it. Just the wolves, you continually told yourself. Just the animals are pretty active tonight. If it is the animals, something must be disturbing them to make such a ruckus. Could something or someone be out there? They were right. Some stupid hunter probably got drunk and headed out into the woods. He probably shot a few trees and scared them. It made sense. For about a minute. Wait, if there was a drunk hunter out there, wouldn't we have heard the gunshots? And there you were. Shoes sloppily rushed onto your feet, and leggings of your PJs getting muddy, and wearing your dad's jacket since you didn't have time to find your own. You held a flashlight loosely in your hands. A deep, grumbling sigh escaped your mouth as your friends nervously made their way into the forest. Why are we doing this again? There's no point in us getting killed by some drunk hunter, you mindlessly complained. It wasn't a drunk hunter. It has to have been something else. You continued to wander deeper into the wood and deeper into an argument with the friend that dragged you out here. Listen, it's late. Let's just go home and forget this stupid thing. There's no point. The rest of us are tired, you whined. It was really starting to irritate you. No! I can't rest until I find out what it is. You immediately stopped in your tracks. You can't sleep until you find it? Fine. I'm going back home. I don't need this. Besides, you're probably thinking it was Slender Man or a Wendigo, don't you? Well, listen here. They don't exist. They were made up. The Wendigo was to stop cannibalism in tribes, and the Slender Man is a video game. Get over yourself. You immediately turned on your heel and stormed off in the direction you came from. Little did you know, 2 to 3 other friends you invited to sleep over were not that far behind you. Even in your pit of rage, you stopped to let them catch up to you. Once you figured out the other sets of footsteps behind you belonged to your friends. Once they caught up, you began to complain a little to them about your other friend. Being them, they nodded and listened. I don't understand what makes him so fascinated with the unexplainable and the paranormal. There's seriously nothing interesting about it. Your one friend turned to you and you looked at her oddly. You don't find the fact that there might be afterlife on Earth interesting or possible? What if you could contact your dead loved ones? You rolled your eyes. Please. Ghosts exist only because they have unfinished business on Earth. Trying to call a dead loved one is like trying to talk to a deaf person. Even if they did exist, your loved ones are done with Earth. Why would they stick around? The conversation went on for a while. The third friend didn't want to interrupt, so she stayed quiet. Out of the corner of her eye, she saw a tall, dark figure amongst the trees, and she froze, unable to move out of horror. The 2 of you kept walking only for a few more steps until you turned around to see her terrified, frozen friend. Hey, are you okay? Your other friend asked. You looked at her and frowned. She's probably cold. Come on, let's head back to the house. She didn't move. Hey, let's go now. Your friend tried to urge her forward with a pull of her arm. She stood stone solid, staring right into the eyes of something that sent a shiver through her bones. It made her want to scream, but stay quiet if it didn't actually see her, so she remained in a paralyzed form. You were getting real tired of this night, and you wanted to pick her up when she raised an arm and extended her index finger to point at the thing that was terrifying her. You both looked up into the trees, taking a few minutes to let your eyes adjust to the darkness. There, standing before you, was a creature larger than you had expected. As it breathed, its icy breath leaked from its mouth in a frozen fog as it descended to the ground. The air around them now reeked of dead bodies. Your hands began to shake in fear as you slowly raised your flashlight, which was now held tightly in your fingers, raising it to see the creature before you. It looked like nothing you would have imagined. A giant human-esque figure with ice covering its entire body, giving off a cold aura that sent shivers down your spine. Its arms dangled low toward the ground, low enough so it wouldn't have to make any effort to just scoop you all up in its hand, twice your size, and drip, drip, drip. Where was it coming from? The sound of something hot dripping into the snow, causing it to sizzle slightly when it hit. You all looked up toward where its head might be, and in its gaping jaws was what you thought to be left of your curious friend. You almost wanted to cry in guilt. You shouldn't have left him. Now he's dead because of you. You felt like dropping to your knees and crying. The guilt already began to overwhelm you. Suddenly, your survival instinct kicked in. You couldn't die like this, and you certainly couldn't let your friends die the same way. With the fear of death overcoming any other fear, the hope to survive thrived in you. You looped the flashlight's wrist strap around your arm and grabbed both of your friends' arms. With all of your might, you pushed yourself forward as fast as you and as powerful as you could. Feeling the power of 20 men within you, you felt like you could carry them to the safety of your home. All you had to do was keep running. Your friends didn't realize what happened until they were suddenly jerked into running. Their heads snapped forward into motion and followed. Panting and gasping, you swore you knew these woods. You lived here your whole life. Who needs a flashlight when you've got this place memorized? You continued to run with all your might, hoping that the thing wouldn't follow you, to eat you as it did your friend. Wait. Ice body. Very large, and ate people. It couldn't be. Not after all those years. The legend was true, and it would have been your second encounter with the beast. The Wendigo.
Mommy, do you like the name? Do you know the name for a tall man covered in ice?
You ran up to your mother with hopeful eyes. Your mother always knew everything. Oh dear, that's the old legend of the Wendigo. You better watch out. They like to eat boys and girls.
But why would they eat people, Mommy?
Because, dear, they're cursed. They were once humans, but accidentally ate other humans, and were cursed for their sin against their God. So they were turned into big ice men with ice hearts, cursed to repeat their act forever.
Oh.
You looked down, really sad. Your mother tilted her head. Why did you ask that, dear? You turned and looked up to her.
Because my friend and I went to the woods and saw one. We got scared and ran away.
Your mother looked shocked and almost scared herself. Honey, where is your friend? You looked behind you.
Oh, I thought she ran out with me. We must have split up.
Your mother grabbed your hand and took you inside. Shit! You yelled as your foot catches a root and trips you, causing you and your friends to fall into the mud on the ground. It wasn't as squishy as when you all first walked out, but the footprints were still there. If you could just quickly get up and run with your friends. The ground shook behind you as a massive shadow loomed over you and your friends. This was it. You'd never make it out now. Your survival instinct kicked in again, just as it did before. Unfortunately, the flashlight had switched off and flown off your wrist in the fall. What could you rely on for light? The moon was blocked out by the shadow, and the sound of a low growl entered the air. Face down in the dirt, you wanted to become the dirt, just so as not to be seen or smelt. You even held your breath a few times, so you couldn't make any noise. Just as you thought you couldn't hold it any longer, you acted before you thought, got up, and just ran. It was pointless. Why were you running? It could just extend its hand out and just grab you with ease. You ran out of impulse, but then stopped and turned around. Your friends were back there, and you were just going to be selfish enough and let them die like your first two friends? No. With all The will left in your body, you bolted toward the mighty beast. By the time you got back, your friends were already in the tight grip of the frozen beast. You screamed at it to get its attention, but it was too late. You stood and watched in horror as it slammed your friends into its mouth, the loud crunching and snapping of bones in its jaws as a shower of guilty blood rained down upon you. You couldn't move. All you wanted to do was cringe at the sound of it chewing up your friends like a midnight snack. Tears began to roll down your cheeks as the same grip that killed your friends found its way around you. Slowly, like an eternity, was taking place. You rose from the ground below, a good 12 feet in the air. It felt more like eternity than anything else. Your entire life flashed before your eyes as you made no attempt to get away. And almost as fast as the light, Sean, you were woken up.